Goeienaand. Good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Okay, what I'm attaching here is the first of two videos I'm putting up this evening, which are about prepping. And they've been put together by one of the people who are associated with this channel. It's Dwayne, who is supporting Patrick, and also Vanessa. And you know, Patrick and Vanessa have two different projects they're working on. We've got Project Escape, and we've got Patrick with the Farmers Aid, and he's helping impoverished whites. So getting back to this video, it's about prepping. I'm going to put Boer and Boer's website link down below the video. Please go and have a look at it if you haven't already. And I'm also going to put Boer and Boer's YouTube channel a link down below this video as well. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe to that channel as well. They're basically very closely associated to Loving Life channel, and I'm absolutely delighted to play this video for you because it's really good. And there'll be another one coming after this one.
Welcome to Boer and Boer, and in this video we hear from a South African family about their preparedness and the importance of it. This video has been recorded in both English and Afrikaans. Please look out for whichever of the versions you would prefer listening to. So, let's get straight into it.
A South African family's preparedness and the importance of it. To better explain the importance of preparedness, we would like to start with our journey of preparation and where we made our mistakes. At least then our mistakes won't be repeated. We are not standing in front of you proclaiming to be experts. We are not. Many people have prepared for longer than we have, and we still learn from them to this day. When I look back, I wish we could have done things differently. I wish we knew more before we started. We would have done more with what we had, and we would have wasted less. You see, when we started, we were not part of a preparation group. We were happily living out our lives, growing family, teaching our kids right from wrong, riding our bicycles, that amazing Sunday nap. Nothing bothered us. We were in the process of buying a plot, to have a calmer life, open spaces, outside time for the boys. One day, we watched a video and we heard the calls of Julius Malema, return the land or face a revolution. Did we get the fright of our lives? We immediately stopped the planned purchase of the plot and we started thinking about our current living situation. My mother was living alone in a big house with a flatlet, and we were living not 3 blocks away from her. Why not combine the two households and increase the family's overall security by minimizing the risk? We then moved into our mother's house and we placed our house in the market. At least we would then have less to lose and more to gain, converting the money in an offshore account. We started exploring the idea of bugging in. We bought water tanks and we adjusted our house's water pipes to attach to a filtering system from the borehole water, saving us from reliance on the green water provided by the municipality. We went further and installed extra burglar bars in our house. We then looked at how to survive by bugging in. We went and bought food. A lot of food. We were planning to ride out the storm after all, and we would need to eat. We bought solar panels for electricity, in case there is no public electricity, so that we can run the borehole for water, and a few other electrical items. We also started a veggie patch, and that was coming along quite nicely, so we were all set. Strikes and riots are nothing new in our area, and they were mostly short but quite violent. Then came the one day where we could not go to work. We were unable to pick up the kids from school. The rioting was blocking several main routes. We couldn't even get out of our suburb. It was at this point that we started to think about the predicament we found ourselves in if we cannot get out of our suburb. That means that no one can get into our suburb. No help would be coming if the situation turns terrible. The police that were on scene could hardly handle the rioting masses as it was. The police were merely overrun at one point, as they were not able to hold back the flood. So we needed to bench the idea of bugging in and shift to bugging out. We are going to need shelter. No problem. Let's get shelter sorted out. Before the kids were born, we camped a lot. Surely we can use our camping equipment? So off we went to our storeroom to find out that we had already been taking part in an extensive, unwillingly participated wealth redistribution program over the past 2 evenings. Reality kicked in as we realized that we had lost half of our camping gear. So what now? All of the good camping equipment was gone, except for one rickety old tent, which we can use, but it would not have been enough. Quickly we jumped into action and decided we needed a trailer tent. In a rush and panicked by the possibility of how insecure our family truly was, we went out the next day and bought one. Turns out that it was not as great as we initially thought. Thinking back, we should rather have taken a few breaths, planned and joined a preparedness group first. Now we know that we would have been substantially more well off by having bought 2 military-style tents. We would have had more floor space, more space for beds or packing. But we now have what we have, and we are making it work. At least we have a plan and a conviction to carry out that plan. If someone told me 8 months ago that I would be preparing for bug in, bug out, family defense, I would have laughed at them. I thought the biggest headache conversation with my kids would be about the birds and the bees. The birds and the bees parent chat is easy. Start thinking about the what do you do if a gunshot goes off and mommy or daddy isn't moving chat. It is not the type of conversation I want with my kids. Hence our need for preparation. So I will now outline our approach to preparedness and perhaps share a few more mistakes you could possibly learn from. The approach to prepping. I like to use the circle of influence, coined by Stephen Covey of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I have adapted it to preparedness. The circle of influence consists of 3 circles within each other. The outer circle being the circle of concern, the middle circle, the circle of influence, and the inner circle, the circle of control. So how have I applied this to our preparedness? The outer circle of concern contains things or events that are outside of your control and influence, like when is South African infrastructure going to collapse? No one knows when or how. What are radical politicians saying to bring about civil unrest? Create hell and havoc? The loss of South African capital and assets, the mismanagement and rife fraud bringing about an economic collapse from all races within South Africa. The civ, which we call our public departments, that have bled trillions under the ruling party. There is nothing that I can do about it. How I am being perceived for preparing my family and friends. I cannot simply change the minds or feelings of others about their views of my approach to preparedness in South Africa. If I should live in the circle of concern, this means that I live reactively. I get upset and highly affected by the very things that I could never change. The circle of influence contains things or events that I have some influence over, but no control. I can try to open the minds of our extended family and friends to the idea of preparation and ensuring that each of their families has a plan and initiative to move forward with, which would be in my influence. What is out of my control is that there is absolutely no guarantee that they would be willing and open to the idea of saving their family from a SHTF in South Africa. I cannot force them. The circle of control contains things or events that I can both influence and control. I can control my own thoughts and actions. I can control how and what I put together for my preparation. I can control what I teach myself or whose advice I need to follow. By living in the circle of control, you are living proactively, that you have a handle on what is happening at the end of the day, and that you are more so successful in the ventures you undertake in this circle. In time, your circle of control will grow and you will have more control over your circle of influence. I was taught to listen to the opinions and advice of all, but to then use my own brain to sift out what is not needed and to make my own decisions based on the information I have. And as a great man once said, nothing kills a good plan like a better plan. Privacy matters. Your preparation is a very private affair. The needs of your family are substantially different from the needs of my family. We have 2 boys that are too young to be truly useful, but old enough to listen and respond to danger. Our family's preparation is very different to a family with babies or toddlers, very different to a household with no children, all of which needs to be taken into account. Joining a preparedness group will offer you the much needed advice and direction needed to prepare for each of these family types. Break up your preparation into areas. Set your budget and stick to it. It's no use you don't have food to eat day to day, but you have enough solar equipment to run a small town. Your kids need food more than they need their phones and smart devices. So whether you're going to bug in or bug out, what is needed immediately for survival? This should be your very first focus point. What is the nice to have? The types of items that are not critical for survival, but will assist with everyday living and make things a bit easier. Then what is a luxury? Not really needed, but it would make life a lot easier in the long run. Test your equipment. I cannot stress this enough. I went and bought a Sputnik to wash clothes with. It takes less water, it advertises that it cleans thoroughly, but I have never tested it. To learn how to use your equipment under stress is not the way to do it. Learn to use your equipment when you are calm and relaxed and less prone to frustration if it doesn't work right the first time. The food that you pack. It is no use you packing kilograms and kilograms of sump if your family doesn't eat it. Trying to convince your family to eat something foreign to them during high-stress situations is only going to cause more stress and frustration. Family and friends. Dealing with family or friends that do not share your convictions can be challenging. Very good friends of ours came over the one day. Their family similar to ours, but had 3 children, mommy and a daddy. A typical South African family. We had known them for about 15 years and felt more than comfortable sharing our preparation efforts with them. They were very good friends after all. We should have been able to talk to them about anything. But after we discussed our preparations with them, the first words that they said rang loud and clear. You are crazy. Nothing is going to happen in South Africa. Everything will blow over. The second thing that they said put ice into our veins. They said that they don't need to prepare, and if it really did get that bad and their kids were hungry, at least they know which house to break into to get food and resources when the shops close. They told us that nothing is going to happen and we should rather have spent our time, effort and money on recreation. We had another family member that we spoke to, went behind our backs and told the family that we joined a cult system and that we are being brainwashed. Another of the family members we spoke to actually confronted us and asked us how we could be so selfish and plainly put a bunch of cowards for trying to only save ourselves and not thinking about other family members. that we were abandoning the elderly in the old age homes. Finally, they asked the question, what about all of them? How could we possibly justify leaving the weary behind? We stopped, a bit in shock to the reaction, and gathered our thoughts. We then answered the question quite plainly. So what are you doing right now to help all of those people? What have you done in the past 5 years to help the weary and ailing? Nothing. Our next question broke before they could get another word in. What are you doing now to make a difference in the lives of any other white South African family? Again, the answer returned, nothing. As we asked our last question, if someone is attacking your home, will you go to the old age home to protect the elderly instead of your own child? So in times of plenty and good, you are not willing to help the ailing and frail, the elderly and ill. What are the odds that you are going to lift a finger to help them when there is an economic collapse? When there is no water, no food, the streets have dying animals and, Lord forbid, bodies that have died from starvation or violence. The disease is more rampant than you see in Zimbabwe, and you cannot even feed your own children. And then there was silence. For those of you that have flown on an aeroplane, the first rule is, in case of an emergency, apply your own mask before attempting to assist others. There is a very good reason for this. Your chances of making a difference and helping others increase exponentially when you have your own mask on first. Help yourself first, else you will not be able to help others. What should shock you is that this is very basic knowledge. The knowledge you would have if you donated your time. The same principle applies to your family's preparation. If you cannot help yourself, how do you start to even think about helping others? Get your own preparation in order. In other words, your circle of control. Then start helping others to prepare. Because if you don't, you are just another family that needs to be saved. Lessons learned. What I did learn is that no one is going to take you by the hand and check if you have this or that. Or ask you, hey, is your family prepared? The economy has collapsed. Or, is everything packed? Now, the first time I heard this said to me, I thought, wow. So then what are we doing here? We joined this preparedness group to be saved. I was very affronted, but upon further thought, I realized the truth. Preparation is your own responsibility. The purpose of these people is to teach you, not to babysit you. They are not selfish with their knowledge. They share their knowledge very eagerly. You are a member of their group to learn from them, from others, and then to adapt your own preparation to suit your family to be ready when the time comes. So in closing, my mother regularly asks me, don't you think we are doing all of this for nothing? Then I respond to her, I hope so with all my heart. Plan, 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 and then begin to prepare. Do not rush into it. Carefully assess your family's needs, then plan your preparation accordingly. Turn your fear into logic. Make it work for you. I really hope you enjoyed our video. If you would, like the video, hit the subscribe button, tap the bell icon, and we will see you later.